Hi, friends. Today's topic is very interesting. I am going to talk to you about handling advanced warehouse management mobile apps in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. So, advanced warehouse management is a comprehensive solution designed to optimize warehouse operations, enhance inventory accuracy, and improve overall productivity. It involves detailed tracking and management of inventory movements, inbound and outbound processes, and utilizing features like license plates, location, and directed put away and picking to streamline operations. I would be emphasizing on customizing various user based UI, as well as customizing the user options for mobile menu items, as well as customizing your own steps and validations to do various kinds of business customizations. So, this video is going to be very useful for you, requesting you to watch it till the end, and please subscribe to my channel just in case if you have not already done so. Let's start over by visiting warehouse management, and inside that setup, and inside that worker. So when I go to this form, when it loads up on the left hand side, it's going to show me the list of all the available workers that are presently in my ERP. And for each worker, I can create or I can map a user as a part of that worker who are working under that worker. I can create a new worker just in case. Just for example, I've created this worker like Subha and Subs, these two workers, and they are kind currently mapped to the default warehouse 63 and the menu item inventory. So where are these menu items coming from, and what are these default warehouses, and what other further steps that I need to create is basically when you create a new user, just click on a new user like new and select a user like John, and you give a name like John Doe with a default warehouse, and this default warehouse should have warehouse management WHS enabled on that warehouse. So I have enabled the warehouse for uh, this warehouse. I've enabled the WHS, and this menu item is, I can select a given menu item, like uh, I can select from this drop down. Say for example, I'm selecting payables. I'm selecting this. Where is this menu item coming from? I'm just going into that, and then I'm going to select a password by just clicking on reset password, and I'm giving a suitable password of my choice, and then I'm setting the password, and it's just going to commit the password. So once this is done, I let me go back to the warehouse management module once again, and let me take you to the mobile device, and inside that mobile device menu items. So if I click on this mobile device menu items, it will show me the list of the menu items that are available for a given mobile device menu, which is a part of this menu, the menu item. So this is the menu item where you need to define a main menu. Say for example, when I have a main menu, I have a user who's logging onto the system. So I need to map that user to a given main menu. So I have these are the list of the menu items that are available, and I have already mapped my user John to one of these menus, that is payables. I can create a new menu also, and these are the list of menu items that I can make a part of this menu items. For now, these are two of my menu items that are part of this main menu. So I have PO confirmation and I have purchase receive. And one of this PO confirmation is basically a custom menu, which I am going to show to you how to do that. And apart from that, I can also select any one of the existing items. So I'm selecting edit, and I'm selecting item inquiry and just clicking on this button to bring the menu item from here to this side of the pane. Apart from that, I can keep on adding as much of menu items as I want and keep them adding to my menu structure. Just I'm going to save this structure, and I'm going to go back to show you what are these mobile device menu items actually are. So if I click on this, I see that these are the list of all the various menu items that are available. So these menu items are somewhere created through code, or through either through custom code or through out of box code, and thereby these are made available out here, and you can keep on adding, you can keep on customizing your own defined menus and bring them here. So just as example, I've created this PO confirmation, which I'm going to show it to you. And if I create a new menu item, so I typically it should look like this. If I click on new, I need to give a menu item name like this, a description title like this, and the mode should be work. Okay, what is this work? A work is basically belonging to any one of this base enum options. So say for example, I've created purchase order confirmation. Apart from that, there are so many out of box in menu, I mean base enums options which I can choose, which I can select. So once that is done, I have to select, I can optionally select use process guide. This button is going to help me to set up a navigation from one screen to the other by using code. So exactly that's what I've done, and I'm undoing this change, and I'm going back to my purchase order confirmation which I have created for this demo purpose. And you see I have created as use process guide. So the first step to your execution, to your setting up, is going to be like this. You have to create the main menu items, you have to specify the main menu items, decide which work creation process you are going to use. You can keep on adding additional setups along with this structure, and then you have to ascribe in you have to assign one of these menu items to the main menu, which you can do through this mobile device menu. Once this is done, you have to go back to the worker and then ascribe that main menu to the worker, which is, I mean, the who is going to work with your mobile device. I always prefer using emulator to test my customizations and my applications locally before deploying them to my UAT or on sandbox environment. So to test it locally, we need the emulator. The emulator could be accessed by launching the URL, the base URL, and then terminating it with this keyword mi equals to action and then a space, and then saying awhs work execute. So when you say this and request the URL, this page is going to come up which gives you user ID and password. This is the user ID and password which you are going to use, the one that you have set up on your user, on your worker from. So when you have given your user ID and password, it will eventually take you to the default default logon screen that you have ascribed, that you have assigned your user to. For me, this user is assigned with this menu item of, if you remember, if we I have used the menu item of work user sessions, and let me take you to the worker and let me launch the worker page. And if you remember, like for this user equals to subs, this user equals to subs, I have used inventory as my default logon menu item, and that's why it's showing as this menu items. These are the list of the menu items basically that are part of this main menu. And the same thing I can also access by launching my advanced warehouse management app, which you can download from Microsoft Store. So the app looks like this. Here also you can give the user ID and password. And so this is once again going to take you to the same welcome screen, the same landing page that you saw it from the emulator. only with some additional information. In fact, a lot of additional information, like this is the Copilot page, the Copilot details of what is that you have rightly presently on your plate right now. So in the upcoming shift, you will process 5 sales orders with a total of 70 items to handle. So this is the gist of your work items that are assigned to you, that are outstanding. So this is going to give you a gist out of it. So if you click on this tick, it will take you to the menu item which you have assigned to this worker from the worker page of the Dynamics 365 ERP's base URL. So let me show you a small customization which I have created for the demo purpose, which is just going to enable you to accept purchase order number. And if you hit enter, if you confirm it, this is going to confirm the purchase order. So if I click on this, so this is where the page is going to take you to. Let this get loaded. It's going to take a moment. And there you can input your purchase order number. So the purchase order number should look like this. I number, and I'm just pressing hit enter. So this is going to take me back to the prompt screen sometime. It says purchase order confirmed. So that's actually one small solution, small example which I showed. So I can show you the code that has been written for it, so that you can understand the basic flow of the controls from one class to the another, and how can you set up the basic setups, the classes that are associated with it. You can also implement accordingly. Let me share my code screen that I have written on my Visual Studio, and the project under that, and my model name is this Subha underscore POC. uh, but don't worry about the naming conventions, and also please don't worry about the XML documentations. I have mostly kept them as empty because I have just designed this solution just for demo purpose. So come all the way down to the base enums. So these are the 3 base enums that you need to start off with, which are needed for the identification of your navigation guiding process. So if you remember, there was a place where you selected this radio button, navigation, use navigation. So this navigation is basically, if you want to turn them on, you have 2 base enums, and adding the element of your choice. Say for example, in our case it's PO confirm, and I've also added a label, purchase order confirmation. In all these 3 menu items, in all these 3 base enums, I've added the same element, which is basically, I'd show you why I've done that. So if you customize these 3 base enums and add the same element over there, next step is to go over to this WHSRF menu item table, and you have to do an COC out of it, whereby you are going to use this method. Let me close this Solution Explorer. Yeah, and if you see, like I have added this method, I have added the COC of this method, which is basically converting, which is getting hold of the menu item that you are passing, and converting the supplied base enums element value into the work activity, and I'm returning this. So it's a very simple COC, and that's what I have done. And similarly, I've done for translating the work work creation process type into work execution mode, by simply converting the mode into the type by using this small COC. Once these are done, here starts the actual part of your development. So where you are going to design the navigation process. To start with the navigation process, you have to create a controller class. So a controller class ideally is going to be ornamented with this signature, where you are going to put the work execution mode equal to the base enum element of your choice, the base enum element which you want to add to your main menu. So in our case, this is purchase order confirm. That's what I've done this. So it got hung up. Let's give it a moment. Is the controller class which you need to start from. You give a proper name to it and you decorate this with this ornamentation of the signature. You have to give an initial step name. Initial step name is what? That the first step, the first UI should look like. So in our case, the confirmation is purchase order confirmation step is the first step. When you have given that, the control expects you to set up a navigation route. So navigation route is what? So from here, that step should be, what should be the next step? So in our case, the first the confirmation happens where the user gives the PO ID and hits enter. Then it automatically goes to a next step which completes the confirmation process. So you see it's a circle. So the first step starts with the complete order step, and from the complete order step it comes back to the first step, as if you are again allowing the user to give a new purchase order to start the process. So this is what is known as a navigation route. And once this navigation route is done, let's go into this class, which is, if you go to Google definition, you'd see it's a very simple class where I am extending process guide step, and I am ornamenting with the signature the name of the class once again, the simply the name of the class. And here I am providing certain validation where I'm saying that if it is complete or not. Obviously, you cannot let the navigation go to the next step unless the user has given a purchase ID. So that's what it's checking. If the purchase ID is blank, it won't let you go ahead. So if is complete, it's an out of box method which you are calling here as a protected boolean. And then in the next step, I'm calling page builder name. So every step that you're using in your navigation should be having a UI builder associated with it, which gives a UI look and feel UI to it. So in our case, this is the page builder UI. Let's get into this. It's also a very simple page. What it looks is I'm adding a label to it. I'm adding a label where actually it says that this is the parts ID, and I'm adding a text box to it whereby the user is going to going to key in the purchase order number. And you see here, I have given something very interesting. Here I have given a macro. As you know, the macro is no longer administered or recommended by Microsoft. Rather, we are going to make use of static classes, constant values to access them. So this is a very simple definition that I've created. So if I go to the definition I've created, okay, let me go from here. Let me go to this constant. Okay, so here I have defined all the constants that I've been needing. So I've created a purchase ID, I've created an action complete order, and I've created a vendor account. I would keep on adding more and more of this similar kind of constants values whatever I'm going to need in my development. So I'm just closing this and I'm coming back. And so I've added the label and I've added the text box. And finally, I'm adding an add action controls method. So add action controls is going to say like, what are the action buttons that you need? I'm adding action, OK, and action cancel. So there are going to be two buttons, OK and cancel. Once this is done, I am going to go back to my controller and see what happens is my final step, which is the next step, which actually completes the process. So this is also very simple. You see this, if you go to the definition, you'd see here I am saying process guide skip without prompt. Why without prompt? Because here we don't need a user input. It's just autonomously, it's going to conclude, it's going to confirm the confirmation, it's going to complete the confirmation of the purchase order. So I'm saying is complete equals to true. But yes, of course, you can keep some condition of your choice. And I'm returning as true. And then finally, I'm calling a do execute method, which is actually doing this confirmation. This is very simple. So do execute, inside my do execute, it's checking if the execution is in some kind of error state or not. And if it is okay, if I have created action complete order, then only action complete order is action okay. If I am saying okay, then only it will come into this block And I am then have defined a method called update staging records, which is doing what? Which is basically confirming the purchase order. Which is confirming the purchase order. Don't worry about documentation, and I have not also created any label. So don't you worry about that. And finally, I'm adding a completion message. So this is where it basically comes with that green mark, as you saw, that like the action completed for the PO. So that's what actually I've done. I've created a method and action complete message where I'm using a process guide message data, and inside this message data, I'm passing on the purchase order completed for then the purchase ID. And the level is equals to success, and because of which it comes as green. And then the navigation form is equals to construct, and then finally the message data. If it fails, then the status should be like failure or error or warning, whatever you want to do, you can do that. And just in our case, edit succeeded. That's why I'm saying as success. And once this is done, this completes the purchase order confirmation and is going to take you back once again back to the initial step or the first step, which is basically if I go back to my controller navigation, it's going to take me back to the confirmation step whereby a user can proceed or select with one new purchase order number to confirm. So that's it. That's the trick, guys. And please let me know how you felt, how you liked it. And in the next episode, I would cover a conditional navigation route. Like if you want to if you want to add another step in between, and if you want to keep on recursively calling it. Say, for example, I want to create a purchase order or a sales order where I want to recursively add newer lines to my sales order or purchase order. Then the navigation route won't be a linear process like this. Instead, we are going to make use of something known as a navigation agent factory, which I'm going to cover in my next episode. Till then, please like and subscribe to my channel, and much love as always, Subhashish.